Previously on MotoringBox, we took the AU Falcon Gear Turbo out for its first proper drive, and quickly found out that the gearbox wasn't exactly up to the task. It either shifted too slowly or struggled to shift at all when we were on boost. It wasn't ideal. This week we're going to have a go at fixing it, not by manualising the gearbox or messing with the factory purity, but instead by getting a little bit of help from some old school Aussie tuning tech. You're watching MotoringBox, proudly supported by Century Batteries. Welcome back guys, we've got the AU Falcon Gear Turbo here in the garage and we're finally going to have a crack at trying to figure out and sort out the shift issues that this gearbox has. Now the gearbox in an AU Falcon is all controlled via the main ECU in the car, and even though we've got a Haltech 750 which is now running the engine, this is still in the car, piggybacked together with it, running the gearbox. So this ECU thinks that the car is not turbocharged, it's trying to do standard shifts. It's not working, it's slowing the shifts. It cannot shift properly if there's enough power running through the system, and yeah, it's simply not up to the job. So there were a few options here and some of them were more destructive than others. If you run a manualized controller, you're mucking around with the stock logic on the gearbox, it's not going to shift by itself anymore. So considering my goal, wanting to retain a lot of that stock sort of factory characteristics of the driving experience, we're going to try and do that with this little guy, a J3 chip. You can get them for a couple of $100 and you can use it to tune the factory AU ECU. Now, if you've been around Falcons on Facebook or in forums, you would have heard of people having problems with these chips. And I think it comes down to two main problems or issues causing that. The first is the installation. You need to follow the installation instructions provided by TI Performance to the letter, to the T, install it properly, but there's also one more part of the puzzle. TI Performance sells these with mail order tunes. You tell them what you've done to your car, they'll sort of estimate what tune you'll need, they'll burn it on the chip, they'll mail it to you. It really comes down to the information and how accurate it is that you provide as to how good the tune is going to be. And realistically, once you get the car running on one of these, you need to take it to a tuner to get it tuned properly. But anyway, I digress. We're not going to be running an engine off this chip or off this ECU. We're simply interested in those transmission logics and tables, shift patterns and whatever it is we can find to try and get this gearbox shifting faster, crisper, under power. Now, I am famous for wearing gloves on this channel. I'm going to glove up here as well, just because I don't want to damage the chip, static electricity, whatnot, but also it just means that the things that I'm filming turn out clearer on camera if I don't have white hands in the background. So that is the reasoning there. So we've got our chip, we've got our cap. This is the programmer as well, which you connect the chip to program it. That's already been done. But we need to open this ECU up to clean the contacts which are on the little connector here. I have a feeling we're going to be able to dispel some rumors here and some myths, I suppose. I don't think the J3 is a dodgy product. I think it comes back to what you want to do with it. Yeah, the information that you provide, and then, tuning it in itself is also quite a risky thing. I'm quite blessed with the Haltech that it has a lot of functions where it can almost tune itself to a degree. This thing is completely the opposite. You've got access to a lot of the same data tables, like fuel tables, ignition tables, and you could get into a lot of trouble if you stumble around through there changing settings without knowing what you're doing. Thankfully, we're not tuning any of the engine related aspects this time around. It's simply the gearbox. So in that regard, we should be already up for a much simpler time, easier time. So they say if there's any white paste around here to wipe it off, I do not see any. And then yes, we need to use a screwdriver to gently scrape off the clear conformal coating from the J3 port terminals by running the screwdriver in the direction of the terminals, so like that. You should be left with a smooth silver terminal, and repeat this process on the other side, which is crucial to make sure it's all gone. So let's have a look at this. We'll start here. It is scraping off fairly easily. It's kind of like a gel or like a jelly almost. We also have to sand these. That's the next step as well, is to sand it. I also have some adhesive remover that I might throw on there as well and just see how it goes. But yeah, we need to be very delicate with everything we're doing here. So I might try actually a little bit of this adhesive remover and just see. It's not strictly in the instructions, but I think it's going to help us get everything nice and clean. This is kind of like an alcohol solution. It's very alcoholic from the smell of it. So I'll just give it a little bit of a wipe. Yeah, and already that's kind of helping remove some of the trace elements that were still on there. So now we need to do this side as well. And you can see where, you know, if you did a poor job at this, that the chip is not going to seat properly. It's not going to have a very strong connection. So it's obviously a huge part of the installation here. So now we need to get some sandpaper. And what we have to do is sand it in again in the direction of the pins, no more than 3 to 4 times over. So let's try and do the first few. Definitely no clear coating left on that one. And then we need to do the same. Apologies, this one's a bit harder to show just because of the casing. So yeah, it all comes back to the connections really, how solidly the chip is connected to the ECU. So don't rush this step, take your time. Make sure it's all seated properly, cleaned properly, as per the instructions. Okay, so the cover is reinstalled and the chip only installs one way. So you can see the connector here, the black one, that goes onto that. And obviously, you know, the top of the chip can only fit in one way, so it has to go in there. So let's seat the chip. As they say in the instructions, you know, securing the chip is essential for reliability. You know, any vibrational movement, anything which can cause this chip to become unseated during driving, not a good idea. And that is on there nice and securely. So that is it, guys. Installing a J3 takes about 10 minutes. Do it properly. And we can now throw this back into the car, see how it goes. Right, so the ECU is now installed back into its little spot there, and I took the opportunity to neaten up that Haltech install as well. I've mounted the Haltech Elite 750 to the outer casing that sort of holds the stock ECU in place. So it's a pretty neat setup. The carpet here just bulges out a little bit more, but you don't really notice it, plenty of leg room. But we can have a look and show you here what parameters this J3 chip can actually control. So this particular chip and the binary that we're using here suits this AU 2 and 3 Fairmont Falcon platform. There are different bin files for different platforms. So if you have an EA Falcon or an EL or whatever it is, AU Series 1. And if we just have a look here at tables, you can see here, these are two of the tables that I'm really looking at here for what we're trying to do, influence the transmission. So we'll open up the transmission line pressure, power and economy. And if we have a look here, you will see that the economy one actually has some higher figures in it. Generally, overall, the figures are a little bit higher. That's because Jason has set up a tune here for me when you're in power mode for the gearbox, using the button in the center console there. It's going to hold gears, potentially. It's not going to shift down as much when you put your foot down. And then he's upped the line pressure overall for the shifts. And then for economy, I don't think it has that sort of gear holding ability, but the shifts are firmer again than what it is in power. So we can try power mode first, see how, see if the kickdown's a problem. If it isn't, great. And then see how the shift quality is with the line pressure that's in the table here. If it's not enough, then we can switch with the button to economy, and we're gonna have even more line pressure for quicker shifts. That's what it's for. So that's a really cool thing. If we get to the end of the test and even the economy line pressure chart here is not enough, then we can come back here and up it. In the past, I had issues even at half throttle. So you can see here on the table, the Y-axis here is your throttle position sensor. So say around 40 to 60% throttle at around, 3,400 RPM upwards, you got quite a bit of pressure there. A lot more than what it is in the power mode. So it'll be interesting to see what the difference is there. Here's another one down here that we can also influence, and I think Jason has played around with these a little bit. You've got your transmissions shift schedule. So you can have a look. This one particular here is going from gear 2 to 1. So that's your downshift for gear 2 to gear 1 in economy. I think those figures, he may have played with them a little bit, but if you have a look in the power setting here, he's upped them all to 5,000. So that's obviously making it harder or less likely that the gearbox is going to do that downshift. I'm not going to pretend to understand these, but you can see what he's doing here to try and make something happen. We've got this gear 3 to gear 2. Again, in power, it's got the same thing. Everything's been upped. In economy, you know, it's probably more aggressive than stock, but we'll find out. But depending what you want to do, talk to TI Performance and they'll work out, you know, what chip you need, what bin file you need, what XDF you need, and they'll even help you tune it if you give them the right info and get your car up and running. So I think that's enough talk. The chip's installed, it's happy. Let's get the car out on the road and test it. Potentially, if it doesn't go well, we'll be back here again making changes. Let's see. Oh, my legs are asleep. Okay guys, we're on the road here, and to be honest, I've been running this J3 chip for about a week and it works, okay? I've noticed quicker shifts. You know, the install, there's nothing wrong with that. It's working perfectly, but I've still been coming across an issue where you're trying to accelerate and the car, when it goes to shift, it'll kind of go, and then it'll go, like you'll actually feel the shift slam in and you'll chirp the tires, but you're still getting this kind of hesitation before it does that. And I went through a revision with the tune with Jason. We put on a sharper one that's got even more line pressure, and it was still doing it. It was just sort of kicking you in the back when it finally did shift. So there was actually a difference on the shift, but it was still doing that hesitation thing, which is obviously, you know, what we've been fighting all the way along. But I came out just before to do a test, still doing it at around 30 or 40 to 50% throttle on the shift. It was still doing it, but I then did one at 60% and it shifted nearly perfectly. So straight away that gave me hope. You know, maybe the line pressure on some of those lower throttle regions of the table just needed to be upped a little bit. So that's what I've done now. I've sort of gone pretty aggressive with anything over a sort of a 20% throttle percentage. I've just upped it, not to the moon, but certainly up there. I don't know the maintenance history of this gearbox, so it's hard to judge what condition it's in. I didn't check the fluid, I've topped it up. There's a bit of a leak from the front, what do they call it? Front solenoid or something? I don't recall what it's called, but there is a leak from the side of the box. I don't know if that's from the up to line pressure or not, because it wasn't leaking before. But yeah, at the very least, this gearbox is going to need a little bit of attention. Hopefully just a new seal, hopefully nothing more. I mean, if it still doesn't shift properly, we might just have to get to the point where we say, look, the gearbox needs a rebuild and I need to get probably a built BTR, spend the money, do it properly. But we're just gonna pop down here to an empty street and yeah, we'll do the same 30% throttle run that was having issues before. We'll see how it goes this time. So I'm gonna do the same 30%. 30, that's 35. That shifted all right. Okay. Just an hour or so ago, that did not shift properly. If anything, that could have been a little bit faster. It still felt a little bit not as firm as I'd probably want. So mental note, Sean, up it at 30%. We'll go for about 50% this time. Here we go, 50. Okay, 50 is no good. So 30 and 50%, 50 in particular, it needs to go up quite a bit. I'll try 60 to 70, because 60 is where it shifted pretty good before. So yeah, we'll try 60%. It's around 60. See that? It shifted, but then it flared again. I think the box, I'm probably looking at a rebuilt box and find someone who can properly build one for me and not just a standard rebuild. It'll probably need to be more. Now, upon returning home, I suddenly thought to myself, Sean, how dare you for doubting the mighty AU Falcon? These things are almost unkillable, so I decided, right, let's give it one more crack. And let's make it big. So I ripped out the J3, pulled out the laptop and fired up Tuner Pro RT. And the line pressures which I put in looked a little something like this. And for those who want to see it visually, it looks a little bit like this. So I saved off the new transmission tune, burnt it to the chip, confirmed that the burn was successful, and then I took the car out for a drive through Ipswich on a Sunday night to find out the result. Hold on to your butts. Woo! There is life in the old box yet. Perfect. That was sharp. I was going to put this BTR gearbox out for the count, I thought it was done, but clearly there's some life in the old girl yet. Now, although the tune was a little bit ferocious, it is proof that this gearbox is strong enough to fight another day. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to refine this tune in order to get the shifting happening just right. When you consider the sheer amount of configurability that this little J3 chip unlocks, I think it is a no-brainer. And running it together in tandem with my Haltech Elite 750, it feels like a match made in heaven. So until next time, take it easy, and I'll see you soon.